While there is a world trend on the inclusion of persons with disability in this complex society, the rights of a disabled person in developing countries, particularly in India, are almost non existent, where the rights of a girl or a woman are also vulnerable. Women and girls with disability thus face twice the discrimination. Shanta Memorial Rehabilitation Center, a credible disabled persons organization (DPO) based in Orissa, India, along with Development Research Institute presents e-courses to increase knowledge on gender issues focusing on gender-based violence against women with disabilities, living independently and inclusion in the society from a human rights perspective. This web based course is titled Insidious Violence and Women with Disabilities. This academic endeavor was designed keeping in mind the COVID 19 restrictions and the shift of focus from classroom lectures to a virtual learning environment.
I will now introduce to all of you. First of all, Saowalak is one of the members of the UNCRPD committee, which the Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disability, it is a body of independent experts which monitor the implementation of the convention by the state parties. And when, for instance, we go to the UN, especially at Geneva, it is the CRPD committee which looks at our reports for example, the shadow or the alternative reports that are provided, and it is they who monitor the convention in many other ways. They also they usually meet in Geneva, as far as I know. Saowalak has been a member of the committee, and she has been she says in her own words that she's a strong believer in the empowerment with human rights based approach, and she has done a huge lot of work on human rights. I will send you her biodata. It's about 3 pages long. So, but suffice to say that she has worked at regional and national level for the last 20 years, and she has been a committed worker to see that the CRPD convention, which she participated in, is carried forward, and that what states are doing is not people, it's what states are doing, which is very important, that they do according to the convention what the laws are laid, that in their own country those laws are also laid down, and that, for instance, when India did the rights of persons with disabilities, it was as part of the CRPD commitment that they had made. And it is for the CRPD committee members to see that these are carried out. She has done a lot of other work. She has been an expert on Human Rights Committee on the determination of gender discrimination established by Gender Equality Act, and she has given a huge. Most of us, even now, if you look at the Committee on Status of Women, they're asking us to give our views on it, and that is what Saowalak has done for a large number of cases. She has taken up those issues within the UN. She has been a board member of the Asia Pacific Development Center on Disabilities and Committee for ASEAN Disability Forum, and also on the subcommittee on the consideration of discrimination in media. So there has been a lot of work besides being a gender expert. We are very happy to have you, Saowalak, and I look forward to your presentation, and to all the students, that this is what most persons with disability aim for, that they reach the heights that Saowalak has reached. Thank you so much.
The speaker of this web course is Saowalak Thongkuay, a committee member of UNCRPD, speaking on the Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD, Thailand.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I will start present my presentation. And then may I ask if I can control my PowerPoint myself or you have to control it slides. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. Um, Actually, the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability marks a paradigm shift in attitudes and approaches to persons with disability, not only women with disability or any particular who have a disability, but the paradigm shift marks or highlighted under CRPD is for all persons with disability. What are paradigm shifts? You may see from the picture. The picture show you the image of the paradigm. I mean the old-fashioned attitudes toward persons with disability. The first one, you see the hand, two hand. What does it mean for two hand get together? It show receiver, right? It show a passive receiver image of persons with disability. The second paradigm is about medical model. You can see the medical equipment. That all persons with disability have to be diagnosed, investigated, or fixed. And the last one, that CRPD 1, 2 shifts the two old-fashioned paradigm to the new ones, equalities and fairness. Next slide, please. What is charity? The charities look at, or perceives all persons with disability as a poor persons. So we should to help them if we can and we want to. Okay, next one. How about the charity approach? How this approach see disability or see all persons with disabilities? Persons with disability are in authentic situations. Persons with disability cannot take care of themselves. Persons with disabilities inspire compassion. Persons with disability are objects of violence. And how this approach proposes to treat persons with disabilities. So, persons with disability needs our help, and they are so sympathy, and they need our charities. And then collect can give money for provide for persons with disabilities. And the qualities of care is less than important. And who is the duty bearers on disability issues towards charity models? Charity houses, homes, foundations, the other institutions. Next slide, please. And what is about the medical model approach? Oh, all persons with disability are poor, and we should fix them so they can participate. And these, the rehabilitation centers, is a major responsibility. Next slide, please. And how medical approach see disabilities. Persons with disability need to be cured. Persons with disability play the passive roles of patients. Persons with disability are considered as an abnormal persons. Persons with disability are unable to live independently. And how medical models proposes to treat disabilities. Persons with disability needs as much rehabilitation as possible to reach the best extent of normalities in order to access rights and participate in society. So it means that we have to fix ourselves as possible or as close as normal people. So and then When we fix it, we can participate it and we can access to rights. And who is duty bearers on disability issues toward medical models? All health professors, of health professionals, officers, authorities, or anyone who claim themselves experts on disabilities. And although these models always belong to health ministries. Next, please. And how about the consequences of charity models and medical models? And you can see from slides, segregations, dependence, low self-esteem, false institutionalizations, stigmatizations, and then image, negative image, and violence, optionals. So optional, being in violence instead of they are duty bearers and rights, or they are rights holders, and submissions, and this empowerment. You see the picture that we have seen, and to me, I have seen these pictures since I become persons with disability in 1997. But before that, I admit, I accept that I saw those pictures from the media, from TV program, but I did not interest on it before I become disability and before I live with my impairment. Next, the last one, but not least, the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability seriously and introduced is the social models approach. So what is a social models approach saying? We need to eliminate barriers to enable the participation of persons with disability in public services, public buildings like hospital, school, transportations, workplace, public park, or any. Next slide, please. And how the social model approach see disabilities. Disability is the result of a long way of organizing society. Trust. Persons with disability face bias and barriers that prevent them equal participations, prevent their equal participations. And disability is not an individual problem. And disability mainly lie in society environments that can be limiting. And persons with disability can and should participate in societies. And how this approach proposes to treat persons with disabilities. So eliminates environmental barriers that constant or blocks the participations of persons with disabilities, including attitudinal barriers, and enable the participations of persons with disability in the public policy making, and ensure accessibilities, and who is the duty bearers on disability issues. All ministries, society, and the state or the government. Next, please. So, from the CRPD, we listed CRPD really serious to list that persons with disability are a part of human diversity. We are human beings, and we are a part of human diversities. So being a human has a broad spectrum of possibilities. For instance, many ways of walking, many ways of seeing, many ways of thinking, many ways of communicating, and many ways of interacting, etc. Right? Are you with me now? And do you agree with me? Next, please. Human rights approach. We, persons with and without disabilities, are part of the same society, and we have the same rights and obligations, such as equal participation, non-discrimination, and who are duty bearer. Yes, of course, the state. Next, please. The state must recognize and accept that disability is not, disability does not mean person, and disability is not a limitations of participating in society activities for persons who have or who live with some kind of disabilities. And how human rights approach sees disabilities ensures full and equal enjoyment of all human rights to persons with disabilities and promotes respect of their inherent dignities and focuses on equal opportunities, non-discriminations on the basis of disability and participation in societies, requires authorities to ensure rights and not restrictions or restrict them or views persons with disability as rights holder, not passive receivers. And how this approach or human rights based approach propose to teach disability. We should enforce laws to ensure full inclusion in all society aspects such as schools, families, communities, works, etc. Apply policies to raise awareness, respect equal recognition before the law, regulate the private sectors, and who is duty bearers on disability issues. Again, all ministries, academics, everyone, and the states. And the key principle of human rights approach are composing of 7 categories. The first one is inclusion, following with participations, accessibilities, non-discrimination, respect for difference and diversities, equality of opportunity, and also respect for inherent dignities. Next slide, please. Come back to come with me with the Convention on the Rights of Persons. So now everyone stay with me for the room of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability. At the moment, there are 182 state party ratified CRPD and 164 signed the conventions, and also 96 state party ratified the optional protocols. Okay. Next slide, please. These statistics include the European Union that ratified CRPD as a region from the Europe. Okay, the convention's concept of disability, it is clearly in line with the human rights approach and social models of disability. The convention saying that disability is an evolving concept and results from the interaction between persons with impairments and attitudinal and environmental barriers that hinders their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. Next slide, please. But I want to highlight you the principles of CRPD, which is harmonizing with human rights principles. Article number 3, the general principle of CRPD. Respect for inherent dignity, individual autonomy, including the freedom to make one's own choices and independence of persons, non-discrimination, full and effective participation and inclusion in society, respect for difference and acceptance of persons with disabilities as a part of human diversity and humanities, accessibility, equality between men and women, respect for the evolving capacities of children with disabilities, and respect for the rights of children with disability to preserve their identities. This is very clear that we are human beings and we are a part of human diversity. Next slide, please. Yeah, I try to compare. It is really fashionable right now that everyone try to success the SDGs goals. And so many NGO, international NGO and national GO try to compare SDG and CRPD and link it. And you can see from the slides that the many articles from SDG also link it with CRPD. They talk the same thing. But in fact, when we implement both SDG and CRPD, we cannot, apply only one standalone article because human rights has interrelationship between or among one right to the other rights. Next slide, please. And you can see the compositions of the CRPD that I try, to make the composition because for the newcomer or for the a person who are not familiar with CRPD may feel CRPD is really complexity comprising of 50, article and so many long texts. So in summary of the CRPD, we can sort it out into 5 parts. Yeah, comparing with the right-based approach. The first part is like preamble that provide the definition, provide background and definitions on disability and the concept of the reasonable accommodation and the obligations of the state. And the second part talking about civil and political rights. For instance, awareness raising, accessibility, women with disability, children with disability, recognition before the law and legal capacity, access to justice, participations in the public rights, including the right to vote. And also the second part, the second part of the article or CRPD article concern to economic, social and cultural rights. For instance, respect for the family, rights to education, right to health, habilitations and rehabilitations, work and employment, adequate standards of living and social protections, and situations of risk and humanitarian emergencies and independent living. And the next part is about international cooperation and national implementations. It is the uniqueness of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, which built the CRPD is differently and has more power than other conventions, the other human rights treaty, because CRPD pay attention to international cooperation, which is allow each party can cooperate each other in order to enhance the effective the implementations of disabilities and also national implementations. I'm not sure that in your country which organization or which firm has been appointed to be the national implementation and national monitoring, because under the national implementation it talk about the monitoring at national levels. Like in my country, national human rights commissions has been appointed from the parliament to be the monitoring systems. An optional protocol that you see that allow almost 100 countries already ratify optional protocol that allow civil society organization to submit their complaint to the committees and reservations and the committee on the rights of person with disability. The last part is about the protocol of the convention. Yeah, this is the structure of the convention. It's very easy, very easy. But in each part has its connection and interrelationships. Next, please. Yeah, I would, uh, example you with the real story. This is the real story happened with women with disability around our regions. The first story is women with hearing impairment. It is a real story from the northern of Thailand. She said that she worked at massage shops and her salary was below a minimum wage guarantee. So she had to work overtime to earn more money. One day, male client violates and asked her to have sex, massage and sex. And her deny and report to the case to her boss. Her boss is the shop owner, but the shop owner requested her to accept the request, the force. And on the last day of her work, that guy came to the shop again and forced her to have sex and tried to rape her. And her begged him to release to release her. But the guy insists that he wants to rape her, and he begged him again. She begged him again. She's really scary. But the guy did not stop to approach her, and she was terrified. And suddenly, she grabbed the pocket knife and stabbed that guy 3 times, and the guy died. And she was a jail sentence for 3 years. 3 year term because there was no legal aid to support her. For instance, no sign language interpreters, and her boss did not stand on her side. And she was already 3 years in jail. Now she was released and stay in the community. And she told me that she want to tell her story to everyone, and she want to ask the government and society, is that her fault? And now her name is, under the criminal records. And how about her future? Her future would more difficult. And she really kindly asked me, what's issue that her story, her life story, process or tell everyone. Yeah. I ask everyone to follow me. Try to, think about the story and analyze it, follow it, compare it with human rights-based approach and CRPD or social models. Next slide, please. The second story is about legal female migrant worker with physically impairments from northern part of Thailand. She is Kachin from Myanmar, and she could not find a job in her country due to her low education level. So she paid money to a private job placement agency to get unskilled job at a construction site in northern province of Thailand. And she hold, of course, a work permit. And it seemed everything fine, but the luck did not stay with her for long. The construction stand collapsed, She fell down and got a spinal cord injury, and she was in hospitalized for 3 months and had to spend the other 3 months for rehabilitations. So the employer paid only 3 months, the first 3 months. She gets only, 3 months, the first 3 month compensations. And she has no home to stay for the other 3 months. She has no home nor shelters to stay for the other 3 months. Of course, she doesn't have money to pay for private rehabilitations. And then, my Thai friends helped her, her Thai friend and my Thai friends helped her to contact the government shelter for women, the government shelter for disability, the government shelter for migrant worker, but none of them accepted her. The government's emergency shelters for women's response that, okay, we don't have accessibility and did not deal with disability anymore. We are taking care of women. And she also, you are not Thai, you don't hold Thai identity card. And finally, my friend has to contact me and other organizations of persons with disability to find the other, specific measure to support her. And from her, the migrant worker, finally we have to find the NGO, NGO shelter. Next slide. Yeah, the question to everyone, all students, and also myself again. Intersectionality and linkage of human lives. You can see from the slide. What are issues? What are issues from, two storytellings? The issues from two storytellings. Can you identify the issues from the storytellings? For instance, sexual abuse and violence, right? Gender inequalities, discriminations, attitudes, the issue of work and employment, education, health, or even rehabilitations, Thai language interpreters, court, criminal court, right? Social justice. This is the issue. And what CRPD talking about these issues? You can see that on one person, when one persons who have disability are discriminated, the discriminations never have been, happen only one issues, because we have multiple identities. So that's why CRPD article number 3 talking about non-discrimination, talking about equality, talking about inherent dignities, and highlighted that we are human beings and we are a part of human diversity. So therefore, when the government implement CRPD, they have to follow, to consider the issue and the linkage of each issue under human rights lens. Okay, next. I leave this, exercise for everyone. You can do it at home. Okay. It is useless if we talk about women with disability as article, one standalone articles. And you can see that 2 of them are women with disabilities. And 2 of them face sexual violence in different contexts. But the discriminations issues is not one, right? There are many issues intersect each others with links to, I think, almost every articles. Okay. Next, please. Yeah, I will end my slides with these pictures. Tammy Duckworth, women with disability, the American senators with her baby, and also the other senator from, if I don't have a long remember, she's from New Zealand with her kids. They are, trying to advocate family rights, gender equalities in the parliaments. It is really touching me, for this image. They show that we are a part of human diversities. They are women, but one have living with impairments, but the other one doesn't have any impairments. But both of them right now, take care of her kid. And two of them are high level, right, policy maker. Okay, they are decision maker, a part of decision makers. But they face the same things, gender equalities, in raising their child, their kids. Okay, thank you for everyone for your attention and participations. I would leave, questions with you in your mind, and you contact me if you cannot find any answers, because it is important we ourselves have to find it out what is happening with our mind, our understanding or our paradigm to look at persons with disability. If you disagree with me that persons with disability is a part of human diversity, and we are not passive receiver. I am or we are instead active contributors and also active consumers. Yeah, we can talk later on. Thank you. And thank you, sign language interpreters, yeah, for your patience and professional performance.
Thank you. Despite all your so many meetings and not being able to slide, we were happy that you were here.
If there are any questions specifically for Saowalak, I would like people to start interacting.
Anyone has a question or wants to say anything? You
Okay,
can,
yeah.
let me know so we can unmute you and also or raise your hand. You can also unmute yourself.
Okay, the first thing that I want to ask you, Saowalak, because this is something that we keep talking about, is the UNCRPD is a very active human rights document, right? So it is something which is at a very philosophical level about what should be the lives of persons with disabilities. But often when we come try to interpret it in our own realities, we find that, legal capacity, well, how can we work it out? So there are these questions that keep coming, and especially in case of women with disabilities, what happens is, I mean, women have little legal capacity per se in our Asian cultures. And then for disabled women, this question of legal capacity becomes very, problematic. So what would be your suggestion in terms of like addressing this in concrete terms? Because the philosophical principle is there in the UNCRPD.
Yes, right. That's right. The issue of legal capacity and recognition before the laws are the most critical to each country, to every country, even in European country where, the social welfare are very, very, almost perfect. What is this? Because, medical models saying that persons with disability have to be fixed. Persons with disability are unproductive. Person with disability needs to be cared. Person with disability are passive receivers. And charity model saying that person with disability always need help and they are passive receiver. They have to sit and wait everyone to give them something. The problem, the problematic is attitudes. The attitude, the society structures include attitude that they put, they place persons with disability as the other class of the citizen. We are not the same class due to the same medical model and social models, right? So, so you don't have capacity to open bank accounts. You don't have capacity. Even you were left and you need to go to the court, but you don't have capacity to tell them the story. You are deaf. How do you know who discriminates or who abuse you? You are blind. We don't believe because you don't see. So to me, awareness raising. So awareness raising is one of among other solutions. But per se, awareness raising should be, implemented systematic. It is not standalone campaign. It has to start from the education. So we have to start now. Start now, today, from the educational levels and the other campaign and of media. Alongside with, empower persons with disability to become a role model, to be, active rights holder who can show to society that you are wrong, your models are not, are invalid. Your belief is not true. Along, and side by side, the government, it is such the discrimination, is systematic issues. So from the awareness, we need such, potential empower leader with disability to work with the government to create right-based policies with the enforcement. If there is no enforcement, we have to wait. I don't know, I'm not so sure how many decades until the society change their attitude. So we have to do twin tax approach. It's not easy, but it is not difficult, I believe. But we have to start now.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Also, one of the issues still pending in most countries, including India, is that we go on institutionalization, and despite the CRPD going against it, and also many of the CRPD committee members have said that this is something that should not be done. But even countries like India, we still have institutionalization because we don't know the way on how to involve in the community, how to do a community method of getting people with psychosocial disability involved. These are the things, and then we have not signed the optional protocol. So, though we did go when the India report came, we went to Geneva and brought forward the issues. But it's still a problem for all of us to even reach the committee members. And these are the issues to tell them to change.
Let's see. Yeah, my country also have, 100 institutions from special schools, specific shelters, government institutions, private institutions. Many countries also as well. But if We shift paradigm, seeing persons with disability as a human being. Why don't we apply lightweight approach inside the institution, along with some action or some campaign too? I mean, for institutionalization. อยากคำนี้
Okay.
right?
There was
Just
a
because
hand.
we don't see us as a human being, we are passive receiver. So we take you there, and then we have just only resources to take care of you. That's it. You don't have to say anything. Don't claim your rights because you are receivers. The key point is, human being. You might focus when my government asked me, what is your focus for 4 years? I don't have any focus, I told them. But my concept is to return human, human being spirits and souls to persons with disabilities. Society, take them out from us. But if you don't return to us soul and spirits of human being, I will do it myself. That's it.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any kind of question to ask?
Yes, I had to Nandini ma'am as well and the present speaker as well. So currently I'll go with present speaker, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, only one simple question. The rules and the benefits that are going to be out, that are from UN CRPD to persons with disabilities. Not every person with disability from different backgrounds is even aware of existence of UN CRPD. People like us working in the field, scholars or working at the ground area might know it, but not everyone in the villages, for example, know about it. So what can be done in order to make everyone understand such a thing exists and they have to fight for their rights?
So I just said boring, statements. Apply CRPD to local context. But when we go to local people, we cannot bring the textbook, the text of CRPD and tell them that this is CRPD. But maybe we have to make more easier in terms of language, maybe in terms of set up the storytelling. And like I try to present to you one concept and following with the storytelling and wrap up with set a pair of the issue with the CRPD, because people on the ground could not image the policy or any language, like using the term of the lawyer language. So you have to make it closer to their lifestyle and daily activities. And who should do that? I recommend that maybe the governments, of course. But second is civil society organization. I still really promote, laws of organizations of and for persons with disabilities. Yeah, because they have member and they have a structure, and also the leader of persons with disability receive, mandate, their mandatory from their members who are living on the grounds.
Okay, so very quickly, two questions that had been put in the chat box, and we can discuss about this later. To very quickly to respond to those questions, I think Gitika had a question about replicable models. And Gitika, there are a lot of CBR models that can be replicated, but we don't know about them. So as I think Saowalak was talking about, one is awareness raising, consciousness raising, sharing information of what has been done where. This is something that needs to be done immediately. The other thing that I think someone has talked about is the question of data on victimization. Now, data on victimization in India is not there per se because disability, being bad to disabled people was not seen as a penalty till the 2016 law came in. So now we have the new law. Probably we are going to start recording like we were recording atrocities against the SCs and STs. Similarly, we hope that the National Crime Records Bureau, the NCRB, will start recording some of this, and increasingly we will find cases coming out. So there is no repository of information that talks about this thing, about victimization statistics. But please remember about victimization statistics that probably disabled people and women are debased on a everyday basis. And this is not recorded as a complaint anywhere, but it is still happening. So that is the other thing. So I would like to conclude today's session, and it has been a good session. Thank you, Saowalak, for so much for joining us and giving us insights. And since your contact details are there, if anyone wants to connect to you, they might email you in terms of more information, more data, etc. Kaushal, to respond to your question very quickly, there are no laws as such about sign language interpreters. So there is a law which says that sign language interpreters must be made available. But about the, we cannot doubt as such the quality of their interpretation, one. But we must also remember that there is a politics to what is being represented. So especially, who interprets what in which manner is also determined about with by the situation in which they find themselves. So I don't think there is a very easy answer, or you can secure everything through law. We have to secure a lot of things by bringing in a value judgment about what is good, bad, what should be and what shouldn't be. Because that is what will ultimately give people the courage maybe to interpret properly, to represent properly, rather than being very, ingrained in community or social politics.
Okay. So I will take 1 minute because I was saying because sign language interpreter is a person who is the voice of women with disability, and what they are feeling, what were the experiences of theirs. So they can tell to the court, to the police station.
Yeah,
So
the point is,
if someone will try to
the point is, I am sure that they are trying
but there must be.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, Kaushal, is that they will be trying to the best of their abilities, and it is then up to the court to decide, or court to maybe take a option of a second one. Maybe we can discuss this a little more in the next session since we are over time. Okay, so tomorrow, day after, when we meet, maybe we can have a further discussion on this, Kaushal.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Nandini.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.